for so much of my life, I have lived with this idea of busyness as a badge of honor, and I'm done with it. I'm so done with it. It makes adulting feel like just complete suckage, and I don't think it has to be that way. Hello, you are listening to the Late Bloomer Living Podcast. I'm Yvonne Marchese, your host, and I'm so happy you're here. I created this podcast to give you inspiration and let you know you're not alone in feeling stuck in midlife. I also invite you to join the Age Agitators Club for women, where we come together monthly to hatch our plans for making waves as we age. Being part of this community for women will remind you on a regular basis that you're not too old, and it's never too late to do that thing you've been thinking about. You can find more information at latebloomerliving.com/community, and I hope to see you there. Hello, my friend. Woo, we're back for season 5. I'm so excited to be back. Wow, I have to say the time off has flown by. I've been really busy with photography during the time off and family stuff, went to a family wedding. It was just a jam-packed summer. In fact, it was so jam-packed that at one point we were trying to get together with my nephew. He was going to come in and visit us. And we were looking at the calendar. This was way back in June. My husband and I looked at the calendar and we were like, what the heck is going on with our summer? We are so overbooked. It's crazy. And we realized at that point, I will say, that we needed to carpe summer. And so we did. We took as many walks on the beach after dinner as we could possibly fit in, which really helped, I will say. But really, I guess really the break from the podcast was like from August to now. So here we are. So that was August 1st to September 18th. It's amazing how quickly that kind of time can fly by. We moved our oldest into their first apartment at college, their first real apartment, I'm going to put in quotes. My youngest is now a senior in high school, and let me tell you, the empty nest looms large, my friend. Oh my goodness. Let's see, on the downside of things, I spent a good part of the summer recovering from a shoulder injury that I got skating. If you follow me on Instagram at all, or I may have mentioned it here on the podcast, I don't know. Anyway, I took a really good fall on my skates at the end of May. And I wear pads and a helmet, and every single pad and my helmet got used in this fall. And I tweaked my shoulder, not even realizing that I really did do a number on it. Like, it took me a month thinking, oh, this is just a little tweak. It's going to get better. Well, finally, I did end up going to the doctor. I ended up going to physical therapy over the summer, which meant I did not get to paddleboard all summer long. Wah, wah, wah. But on the upside, I did a lot of skating. I know you're thinking, Yvonne, you injured your shoulder skating. What are you doing skating? More. Here's the thing. I could fall riding a bike and hurt myself. I could fall walking. I know friends who have injured themselves just by, walking and tripping on something. Things happen. Things can happen. And I skate because it brings me joy, and it's a playful way to exercise, and it is stress relief for me. And what I've been doing this summer is trying to learn new moves on my skates, because really what I want to do is roller dance. I also am wanting to learn how to do shuffle dance stuff, and they kind of complement each other is what I'm finding, is that learning shuffle dance moves complements like some of the roller skating. And let me tell you, it's engaging my core, it's helping with my balance. And these are things, when you work on your balance, it serves you as you get older. That is a good thing. So yeah, I'm skating still and I'm having fun doing it. There you go. So here we go into season 5 of Late Bloomer Living. All right, so for this season, what you can expect that I am going to continue to bring you stories of people who have reinvented themselves in midlife and beyond, people who have come up against obstacles and found their way around them, or had something that seemed awful at the time, which turned into a blessing. So those kinds of stories. And I am going to continue to bring you guests who have some sort of expertise around the challenges that come with aging. And there are many of those. So pretty excited about who I have lined up so far and who I am hoping to get lined up for the podcast for this season. Thematically for this season, okay, I'm going to tell you what I'm obsessed with besides roller skating. Aging playfully, or the idea of living playfully at any age. I am continuing to explore this whole idea, inspired by the work of Dr. Stuart Brown. He wrote a book about play. And here's the thing, play is serious business, people. Did you hear what I did there? So what is play? I mean, you may think instantly when you think of play, you probably think of kids playing because that's what kids do, right? But as we get older, we don't play so much. If I ask you the question, have you played today on any given day? Do you think that most days you'd be able to say, oh, sure, yeah, I played? And if you do answer yes to whether or not you played, is there some sort of guilt or feeling of like you've been self-indulgent by giving yourself time to play? Is it something that you only reserve for your weekends? Is that how you approach incorporating play into your life? I suspect it is, because that's where I've been before, certainly. Okay, so what is play? As defined by Stuart Brown in his book, he talks about, with children, play is unplanned, it's spontaneous, there's no purpose, there are no rules. Kids just play. It's what they do. And it's how they learn, and it's how they grow. They learn skills that way, but it's not like they're learning skills. Once we get to school, we put kids into classrooms and then we're teaching them skills. And if you've got a good teacher, they make it playful. But really, play, pure play, is for its own sake. And as we get older, we feel guilty about it. It becomes structured and competitive. It becomes skills-based. We feel like it has to be productive in order for us to take on play. There's a feeling of self-indulgence around it. You may say to yourself, I don't have time to play, But it's important. It's how our brain naturally develops and fires connections, and it can ward off dementia. We've been wiring and firing the same connections in our brains for however many years we've been alive on this planet. And you get into a rut with your thinking. And if you can embrace play more in your life, who knows what new connections you may be able to wire and fire in your brain. They say we have about 60,000 thoughts through the day. 80% of those thoughts are negative, and 95% of them are on repeat. That's a closed, fixed mindset. And our memories and our beliefs, they're so deeply tied to emotions. And play can help us fire new connections because of the emotion that's attached to the experience. Play can help with stress relief. It is good for our health, fosters creativity. So many things. So many good things about play. So that's going to be a lot in the background of my thinking as I talk about things this season. The other thing that I am a little obsessed with, in addition to talking about living playfully, I am also becoming more and more interested in how internalized ageism affects our health and wellness. I finally read a book that I've been hearing about and meaning to read for a long time. It's called Breaking the Age Code by Dr. Becca Levy. She's a gerontologist and professor at Yale. And her book is a seminal book in looking at how ageism affects us. She talks about the cultural influence on us around ageism. And what I discovered in reading her book is the evidence behind what I personally experienced when I suddenly became aware of my own fears about aging that have been so deeply embedded in me that were holding me back all through my 40s when I figured, oh gosh, here we go, I'm on the downhill slide. Those very thoughts kept me from doing things. They affected how I viewed myself. And here's the thing, even if we aren't aware of them, negative thoughts about aging that we pick up from society, they may be cutting years off of our lives. This is a quote from the book that I love. This is one of the most harmful things about negative age stereotypes. They don't only color our actions and judgments towards other people. Often they influence how we think about ourselves. And these thoughts, if they're not counteracted, can impact how we feel and act. And I tell you, I read her book and I just felt like little explosions were going off around me every time I read something where she found through her studies that have been replicated all around the world that how we think about aging affects how we're going to experience aging. I mean, down to how fast people walk after being primed with negative age ideas or positive age ideas. It's stunning work. And so what I want to do is talk about the internalized ageism that we have absorbed from our culture and what that does to our health and wellness. And tying that together with playfulness, I would like to talk about the power of living playfully at any age and how embracing playfulness could be the key to overturning those deeply embedded, internalized, ageist ideas that end up limiting us. What happens is we hear all these ageist messages, we don't even question them. Once you start to pay attention to it, my friend, you will notice it's everywhere. It's in advertising. It's in your conversations with your friends about getting older. Listen to people, listen to yourself talking about getting older, making jokes about it. We have all these stereotypical ideas about what it means to get older. And that's one thing when you're looking at it from the outside, but we're all aging people. So as you get older, it becomes self-relevant. And that is when the ideas around aging start to limit us. They start to limit what we think we should and could be doing at our age. And then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah, seriously. So my idea to combat this is to be playful about it, to find as much joy as we can possibly pack into our lives. And speaking of the influence of our mind on our body, the other books that I've been reading that have really been stirring things up in me are books that have been written by Joe Dispenza. Most recently, I read The Placebo Effect and Becoming Supernatural. In reading Joe Dispenza's book, The Placebo Effect, he gives so many examples in his book of different scenarios in which people either recovered or got more sick, depending on how they thought about their situation and their health. I'm so fascinated by the intersection of the work of Dr. Stuart Brown, Dr. Becca Levy, and Dr. Joe Dispenza, because what I find fascinating here is the idea that our minds are so powerful. So if you can be more playful, feel higher level emotions, how might that affect your health as you age? If your self-perception is more positive as you age, how is that going to affect you and how you feel and your day-to-day choices and decisions about what you're going to do? Just something to think about. I found an interesting quote that said, "The opposite of play isn't work, it's depression." And that was also an aha for me, because one of the reasons that I am leaning so heavily into incorporating more playfulness into my life is because I tend to look at work as drudgery, as a grind. The tasks that need to get done on a daily basis, I go into it with this, oh boy, here we go. I've got to get this done. I've got to dig in. I've got to work hard. I've got to make it happen. And for so much of my life, I have lived with this idea of busyness as a badge of honor, and I'm done with it. I'm so done with it. It makes adulting feel like just complete suckage. And I don't think it has to be that way. I think that that is just something that I would like to explore letting go of. My business coach has called me a hard-aholic, and she's 100% right. I tend to do things the hard way. And so I'm curious to see if allowing more time in my schedule for play, like skating or dancing or drawing, if those things might help me hold my work more lightly, might help me approach the things that I have to do with some sense of experimentation and playfulness. Can I do that? I'm practicing, and I think it'll serve me, and I think it might serve you too. I don't know. Are you willing to go on this little journey with me? Are you willing to play more? Are you willing to play more without beating yourself up for taking time that seems self-indulgent? Are you willing to do that? Let's explore it together. All right. Well, very excited. I've got awesome guests lined up already for this season, and I can't wait to take you along this path with me. Thank you for being with me. If you've been here from the beginning, oh my goodness, thank you. And I want to invite you to join my email list if you haven't already. There's a sign-up form on my website, latebloomerliving.com. I usually send out a weekly newsletter that lets you know that a new podcast is out, and I'll talk about what's been going on in my life that week and maybe throw some ideas in front of you to think about for your week. So that's what you can expect from joining my email list. And if you want to follow along to see the crazy antics that I get up to over on social media, on Instagram, you can join me there to watch my skating diary as it unfolds and I learn new skills there. And I want to say something about the skating. I post about skating because it's what I'm doing that I find fun and playful and challenging, and I'm learning new ways to move on my skates, and that's wiring and firing new connections in my brain. It's challenging my balance, but mostly it's play. And there are days when I may not feel like skating. Guess what? I don't skate on days that I don't feel like skating. I don't skate then. It is something that I do because I find it fun. And I don't think everybody should be skating. I'm not posting about skating to encourage you to skate. What I am posting about skating for, or why I'm posting about skating, is because I want you to find something to do that tickles you, that is fun, that gets you back in touch with that inner little kid who's dying to come out and play. All right, that's all for now. I'll be back next week with a guest that I can't wait to introduce you to. In the meantime, have a great week. Bloom like you mean it, and I'll see you soon.